It's your boy, D Marty Mall, once again, man. What's going on, y'all? Feel like it's been a little minute, you know what I'm saying? Especially since you've been up in the crib, man. But welcome back to the studio, man. So today, we are going to be talking about a very important topic that a lot of y'all been trying to ask your boy about. Good old nutrition. You know what I'm saying? So before we even get started with nutrition, man, I just want to let y'all know what we got coming up ahead. It's going to be different type of breakdowns, so we're going to be talking about in regards to nutrition overall, you know what I mean? So today's going to be general. Another day it's going to be about supplements. Another day it's going to be about preparing your food, man. You know what I'm saying? And then how are we going to tie all that together? Micronutrients. We're going to be getting into all that. Before you worry about any type of fad, meal plans, you know what I'm saying, some type of diet that your friend is doing. And so one thing you need to understand, first and foremost, before anything, is that there's no one size fits all right? So when it comes to nutrition, you know, yes, protein has a specific effect on your muscle builds. Yes, they do. Carbs has a specific effect, and fats do as well. However, we all come from different backgrounds, different races, religions, you know what I'm saying? And how we grow up and how we come up, man, and how our gut biome has been groomed is different. You know what I mean? Yours, listen, I'm from the land of Nigeria, all right? I can handle a lot of carbs, man, you know what I'm saying? Fufu, jollof rice. I can't eat none of that right now because I'm prepping, you know what I'm saying? But for those of y'all that can, just understand, we absorb that stuff very, very well, you know what I'm saying? But we also grew up eating a lot of veggies. In American culture, not so much. Not so much, all right? So because of that, not only does your taste buds don't adjust to it very well, it also has a different effect on you guys than it does for us, all right? So, and then if you try to consume carbohydrates, what happens, you know? Maybe you don't absorb it very well either, all right? So those are some things to consider, all right? So there's, you know, so that's why the general advice is always, hey, anytime that you're trying to create a nutrition plan, just try to make it balanced across the board and then adjust as time goes on depending on how your gut handles it, all right? But before we get into any of that stuff, listen, man, if you can't drink water on a consistent basis, there's no nutrition plan that's gonna save you, all right? Why is it important to drink water? I know this sounds crazy, but we gotta talk about it. We gotta talk about it, all right? Listen, you know, water, your body's made of, is literally 2/3 of water, literally, all right? So why would you not want to drink this, number one, based off of that? Number two, your gut needs it, all right? And it needs it for chemical reactions and also absorb some other nutrients as well, all throughout the body, you know what I mean? So without this, there's nothing that's going to happen in your gut that's going to be, that you'll be able to absorb so that you have energy throughout the day, and also the processes within your body can start functioning properly. And then your blood is made up of 85% of it too, all right? So just know, you don't drink no water, you ain't getting no results. I don't care if you're on the perfect diet. No water, no results. Whoa, one more time. No water, no results. So second step, so now that I told you, hey Martin, now what, man? Like, there's no one size fit all. Like, there's no fat diet that works for me. Like, I can't copy what my friends do. So now what, Martin? Like, where do I go from here? That's a great question. If you don't know where to go in terms of where to start for your nutrition, this is all you have to do. Get a baseline, all right? Get a baseline of where you're currently at in terms of calorie consumption in your macros, all right? So if you're not eating the same thing for 3 days, probably gonna be a little off. You know what I'm saying? It's probably gonna be a little off, but that's okay. Especially if you're somebody who's not really trying to be super intentional about tracking that stuff, that's okay. But if you find that, like, man, my fats are extremely high, you know what I mean, on Wednesdays, you know, and on Tuesday, my protein intake is not very high either, and I got bloating, I'm nauseous, I feel gassy, then that probably means that you gotta readjust your fats a little bit, right? And increase your protein intake instead of raising your fats, right? So your baseline is literally going to be different depending on like how you've been eating, really for like over the last particularly 6 months or so, right? Because you really start to develop certain patterns of how you eat, whether you're eating out, whether you're cooking in the crib, you know what I'm saying? So get a baseline, see where you start. That's a great place to kind of like gauge like where you're currently at, and then you can adjust from there. All right, so throughout this video, y'all have heard me mention macronutrients, right? So what are macronutrients? So macronutrients are basically what you consume every single day, and they come in different forms, but three major ones: fats, carbs, and protein. So let's get into all three so you understand exactly what you're consuming, so that you know exactly like how to really start to plan your nutrition. All right. So number one, carbohydrates. Your body absolutely loves carbohydrates. So I'm not talking about, your McMuffins, you know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about Eggo waffles, processed sugars, and all that stuff, all those type of carbs, right? We're talking about whole foods type of carbs, grains, you know what I mean? So we're talking about rice, potatoes, sweet potatoes, man, quinoa, all that good stuff, man. Like, those are the carbs that your body absolutely loves to just absorb and use for energy all throughout the day. One of the biggest mistakes I see made with carbohydrates is that a lot of people see them as an enemy of yours, right? Listen, any macronutrient that you consume it can be liable to add on some extra fat if you eat it in excess, you know what I'm saying? But to be honest with you, when it comes to whole foods in general, before you even get too fat, you're gonna be satiated regardless, right? Whole foods, since your body absorbs it well, uses it well, digests it well, right? You're more likely to get full off of that before you even get any type of fat from a hamburger bun, for example, right? You're not gonna be able to absorb that as well. It's gonna sit in your gut, and then next thing you know, you're not gonna know that you're satiated until it's way too late, right? So just remember, carbohydrates, that's like your number one nutrient right there that will really give you a lot of energy for the day. And then especially when it comes to all my gym heads, right? Don't be one of them cats that don't eat enough carbs. You need that, you know what I'm saying? You need that glycogen, man. It stores and basically gives you extra sugar in the muscles so that you have enough energy to work out and train hard, man. Don't neglect your carbs, you feel me? So now the next major macronutrient, protein, man. Protein. So protein, aka amino acids. There are what, 32 essential amino acids. So, and what those do essentially is help rebuild your muscle tissue all throughout your body. You know what I mean? So protein. If you don't consume enough protein, you're breaking down the muscle that you're really working hard to either build or you cannot maintain it as well. And it's also responsible for other processes within the body as well. But last but not least, your body works hard to break down protein as well. So you actually burn more calories if you eat more protein, right? If you don't eat enough, and this is something that really harms the ladies from what I've seen over the years. Ladies, listen, you have a third of our testosterone, all right? Since you have a third of our testosterone, it's harder for you to build muscle. Please eat your protein, man. If you do not eat your protein, you are in trouble, all right? So general rules for the amount of protein to consume. Start with your body weight, all right? Or at least your ideal body weight anyway, all right? So if you're someone who's trying to lose some weight, think about your ideal body weight, multiply that, take their body weight in pounds, and convert it to grams of protein. Start there, right? That's a good starting place. Now, once again, just like I said in the beginning of the video, if your gut can't really handle that, you'll know. Nausea, gassiness, bloating. Scale it back if you can't absorb it all, especially if you've ever been eating protein for a long time, right? Or at least constantly trying to do it in all your meals, right? And then last but not least, the third, one of the most important macronutrients right here that's often forgotten, fats, all right? And we're talking about healthy fats. We're talking about your olive oil, your nuts, almonds, cool. So when it comes to fats, number one, don't eat too many of them, to the point where, once again, that slows down your digestive tract. Because fats are dense, man. Fats are dense, and they don't actually get broken down in the small intestines like that. You know what I mean? It actually has to pass 3 small intestines in order for it to actually be broken down and absorbed. So what does it do? So fats, they help regulate your hormones, man. One of the biggest things that happen when it comes to not eating enough of these fats, man, is like, whether it's a man, but especially a woman, if you don't have something that can help regulate your hormones, such as fats can do, it can affect your skin, nails, your hair, your mood, right? Testosterone production, estrogen production. Like, you need a healthy balance of fats. You need to be constantly eating that stuff so that, your hormones are properly balanced more than anything, okay? So always remember about these 3 macronutrients, man. So remember, carbs, proteins, fats, all right? You gotta have a combination of those 3, and it depends on how your gut can handle it. All right, so now we just covered macronutrients, all right? Water intake. So those are very important, but none of that means anything if you do not possess the skill set on how to execute a proper nutrition plan. One of the biggest issues I see today, right, especially when I look online and look at different pieces of advice, we're talking over a lot of people's heads, number one, as nutritionists, trainers, and other experts, but because we're not really getting to the heart of the issue. Don't focus on dieting, focus on your habits. Don't focus on dieting, focus on your habits, all right? Because that's ultimately what's going to allow you to diet further along as you go along in your journey of finding your nutrition, man, finding your riches in the stomach. You dig what I'm saying? So here's the thing. So I'll give you a perfect example. So if you're somebody who's trying to lose 40 pounds, right? You start hitting the gym again, you start running, you know what I mean? Your cardiovascular endurance starting to pick up a little bit, but that last piece is your nutrition. It's your nutrition. And you're somebody who's probably have never been on a diet before, ever, or maybe even had structured eating. You know what I mean? What are the chances of you actually being able to meal prep all your food, do it consistently every single day, day in and day out, and then not get burnt out and not feel like a failure if you fail at keeping up with it? It's probably close to 0. You know what I'm saying? So here's what I'll focus on when it comes to people who are just now getting into this space and trying to get the nutrition right. Number 1, focus on eating square meals a day. 3, preferably. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all like to intermittently fast. But if you're eating once a day, then you're snacking and all that, just focus on trying to get in as many whole meals as you possibly can, right? We discuss our macronutrients. Have something green on that plate, all right? Have some fruits, vegetables. You want to see a lot of color on that plate, all right? Because that's where a lot of your vitamins, your nutrients, your fibers, and then of course your other macronutrients that we talked about, that's gonna be on that plate. However, if you have not established those habits, man, don't jump out the window and try to start dieting the next day. It ain't gonna happen. And then there's also other things you have to consider as well. Number 1, how am I gonna plan on cooking my food, right? Do I have time to cook my food? Am I organized enough? Do I have a system for how I want to cook my food? Do I know when I want to go to the grocery store and pick up my food? You know what I'm saying? Is this sustainable for a long period of time? Don't want to measure all this stuff. Like, you see how many factors that come into play when it comes to actually like knowing how to like essentially eat 3 square meals a day? There's a big process that comes into it. Luckily for me, I grew up in a Nigerian family. You know what I'm saying? My mom, she cooked everything, you know what I mean? But I also learned how to cook by watching her as well. So now that I'm older, I don't think about it. I remember when I first started off in this industry, I used to be so mad at my clients for not knowing how to like eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's like, yo, what the hell are you doing? Why would you not eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner? But then in our society today, you gotta think about it. There's a lot of us that grew up eating like that, just snacking as kids, and never really like maturing in our nutritional journey. We never matured. We stayed eating like kids, right? You know what I mean? So the big thing is that you gotta like evaluate where you're currently at in terms of your skill set of preparing your food and eating well. So you got all the clean food in your fridge. You're ready to get started on basically this nutritional journey. You're hyped up, you're excited, but you still have cookies in the crib. You're still eating out 3 times a week, you know what I'm saying? Now you let your food go bad, you know what I mean? If you haven't let go of those bad habits, it doesn't matter how many good habits you have, right? And this is essential to life, but especially when it comes to nutrition. If you're still eating out a whole lot, yeah, and you still have a bunch of stuff in the crib that's gonna tempt you to crash out on trying to eat healthier, listen, man, it's gonna be tough. You know what I mean? You can't mix vodka and milk. It's not how this works. You know what I'm saying? That's not how this works, man. Listen, the amount of times you eat out, you kill like 2 days worth of you like doing good. All right? So now, don't let that discourage you. You can still have yourself a cheat meal at the end of the week. But if you're somebody who's genuinely really trying to let go of those bad habits, man, let go of the food that has been killing your gut for such a long period of time, you're gonna have to at least go like a couple weeks without that food. If you don't know how to do this stuff for an extended period of time, the chances are you're not gonna be able to absorb the food that you just bought, you know, that you really wanna start consuming a little bit more of. You can't absorb it anyway, all right? So there's eating out, there's having junk in the house, and then there's alcohol, man. All right, let me see if I got some wine in here. You know what I'm saying? Listen, Marty Moore keep some wine in here, but I haven't touched it. I swear, Coach, I haven't touched it. See that? It still got the wrapper on it. You dig? You know what I'm saying? It takes 72 hours for alcohol to leave your body. Number one. All right. It runs across the blood-brain barrier. It sits down, and your body has to metabolize it. It takes a long time for your body to expel ethanol, which is poison, by the way. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it takes about 72 hours for it to leave your body. And as you get older and older, that process slows down tremendously. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, if you're consuming alcohol on a regular basis, just know your body's gonna work hard to expel that, all right? So in that 3-day span, what's happening to the rest of the food that you're eating? It's sitting there. It's sitting right there in your gut. And when it's sitting there in your gut, your body's gonna store the energy. What is stored energy? Fat. All right? All those habits add up, all right? And then when you mix that up into the good habits you're trying to build, just know you're making it way harder for you to not only achieve results, but to feel better, look better, and just overall have better energy throughout the day. You feel me? All right, so all good. So we cover habits, you know what I'm saying? We cover macros, we cover water. So the last thing I want to talk about is eating your damn vegetables. This is a boring part of the segment, but here's the thing though, man. Make sure you start eating green vegetables, man. There's a lot of reasons why you should, you know what I'm saying? This is, you know, for some reason the American diet is completely just lost in the shuffle. We've heard it our whole lives as kids, but why don't we do it? Number one, we're about the taste of it, all right? So when it comes to green vegetables, it doesn't have to be just strictly steamed. Now listen, I'm getting on a bodybuilding stage, so I gotta either steam mine or eat it raw. You know what I'm saying? I gotta steam it or eat it raw. But you don't have to do that though. You know what I'm saying? If you're somebody that simply wants to live a consistently healthy lifestyle, you can saute your stuff. You can steam it with some extra seasoning on that thing. You need those veggies is because the fiber in those green vegetables, dark, leafy, and green to be specific, it helps clean out your gut. All right. So if you clean out your gut, that allows all the other nutrients that we discussed to be absorbed a lot better. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can't drive through a highway if there's a bunch of debris all over the place. This car collisions and crashes all over the place. Somebody has to clean out the road, right? That's essentially what vegetables do for your gut. It sweeps the lining of it and cleans out the road of those small intestines, man, so that like you can actually absorb that food. You know what I'm saying? So now, let's say that you're somebody who's still experiencing some issues with your gut. You know what I'm saying? Here's some good stuff that you can use, right? As an example. Here's some products that could definitely help you. So number one, doesn't have to be this specific brand of sun fiber, but a fiber agent in general, right? This can assist you with sweeping out the gut, cleaning out the gut, so that like throughout the day, you're not just gonna be sitting there constipated, and you're gonna be able to enjoy it, eat more food and absorb it a lot better, all right? And then also as well, digestive enzymes, right? So digest goes what I love to take, especially if I'm experiencing any excess nausea and bloating, if I'm eating particular type of foods, and or if I'm getting ready to eat out. That's something that's also good to have on hand. Now, I know I told you earlier in the video that you shouldn't eat out a ton. However, if you do, this is a good agent to have because that will really help that'll really help break down the food in your stomach, all right? Then also on top of that, probiotics as well. So fiber, digestive enzymes, probiotics, stuff like that is gonna really help keep a healthy gut environment for you so that like you'll be able to, and you know, so you'll be able to absorb it a little bit better, all right? So don't let that be a crutch. However, you heard it from your boy, you know what I'm saying? All right, y'all, so that concludes the video right there for this segment today, all right? So we covered a lot of topics in terms of general nutrition, all right? So we covered water intake, man, why that's super important. If you don't have your water right, ain't nothing gonna be right. This whole process is dead, you know what I'm saying? Next thing we talked about, fats, carbs, proteins, those major macronutrients, why those are very important in all its functions, you know what I'm saying? Gotta have all three in order to have a balanced nutritional diet, you know what I'm saying? Next thing you also gotta be very wary of, don't worry about the dieting, worry more so about your lifestyle habits. That's what's ultimately going to like dictate whether you're gonna be successful in your nutrition journey or not, you know what I'm saying? Alcohol consumption, are you sipping too much of that Douce and the wine, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Are you eating out? Are you eating out constantly? How much fast food are you consuming? Are you eating just a ton of like processed sugars? You know what I mean? And a whole bunch of that type of stuff. Your chocolate cakes, man, your cookies, all that stuff. You know what I mean? So be wary of that. Then last but not least, take care of that gut by eating your green vegetables, man. That's what cleans the gut up. If you need other assistance such as digestive enzymes, extra fiber, probiotics as well. Those are all going to be assistance in terms of you cleansing your gut so you can absorb nutrients, you know what I'm saying? So make sure y'all stay tuned, man. Hey, we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. So y'all got to really tap in with your boy, man, if you want this information. You hear me? Boo, boo, boo.